this thing. Tom Ross is on your left. He's number 2 on our SCG Tour Player of the Year leaderboard. Jacob Baugh is on your right. He's number 15. It's green-white aggro. It's white-red vehicles. And we are underway here. Tom is on 6. Jacob is on 7. Both players will start with lands that do enter the battlefield tapped. For Tom, he'll play a fortified village on turn 2. A Plains is the reveal, and now it's a Servant of the Conduit. 2 energy on the way. Baugh will untap that Needle Spires, and he'll draw a card. Big match for both players here. There's a Smuggler's Copter. For Tom Ross, Jeff Hogan will not be in the top 8. He has 4 losses. So for Tom, if he's able to make the top 8 here and maybe even get a little bit deeper there, he would actually pass Jeff in our Player of the Year race. For Jacob, he's number 15. We know he wants to qualify for the Players' Championship, and a top 8 here would be a step closer towards doing that.
And Tom and Jeff separated by only 5 points right now, so Tom should be able to make up that gap and then some with a top 8.
For Tom, he's going to use that Servant of the Conduit, use an energy to cast a Tireless Tracker. Then he'll play a Plains. Now it's a Thraben Inspector plus a Clue. He's got 2 of those because he also played a land for the Tireless Tracker. So a pretty nice start here for Tom. For Jacob, it's a little bit slower as he's going to play a DePaula. We'll see if he wants to fire up the Copter. The answer is yes, so he's going to come across here for 4. He will scoot and loot.
How long have you been sitting on that one?
Not telling. Not telling. Going to discard a Plains, pass the turn back over to Tom. Tom will untap, and he will draw. We'll see how he wants to move forward on his 4th turn of the game. Has the Smuggler's Copter in hand, also a Sylvan Advocate. Doesn't look like he has one of his awesome payoffs, though, in Gideon or Virtuous Gearhulk, excuse me. Actually, I take it back. He does have a Gideon in hand.
I mean, he can just bash this turn, play his other 2s. He probably can't protect Gideon very well against the Smuggler's Copter, but he could play it next turn and just immediately make an emblem.
It's tough to say that Tom's under the gun. It's just that Jacob was the first to attack in this game. Looks like it's going to be 16 all now. The follow-up is a Sylvan Advocate. Going to use that energy. None left there for Tom. There's a Smuggler's Copter. Pass the turn back. He's got everything on the battlefield except for a Gideon. To Baugh we will go. He will draw a card. Now remember, the take that Team Card Hoarder has on vehicles is a little bit larger, which means you're going to find cards like Sky Sovereign, which I actually think is going to be pretty good in this matchup.
It has been unimpressive on the balance so far this weekend, but if it's going to be good in any matchup, it's one like this where Ross is playing with a lot of mid-range threats that are still killed by the Sky Sovereign.
A Veteran Motorist here for Jacob. He'll scry 2. The 3/1 Dwarf Pilot has been pretty impressive here for Team Card Hoarder. They said they are very, very big fans of this card. One card goes to the top, other one goes to the bottom for the scry. Hard not to like a card that scries on an aggressive threat like this.
The 3 power for 2 mana and gets the scry. Good with the vehicles, obviously. A dwarf.
Yep. Going to crew up now onto the Copter. The Copter will allow Jacob to draw and discard. Keep in mind the Copter right now is actually a 5/5. Going to get +1/+1 from the Motorist crewing it, and also going to get a +1/+1 from DePaula as well. So it's an attack for 5 in the air. The question is just how aggressive do you get if you're Jacob? Clearly he says, I'm going to keep attacking. The follow-up, Selfless Spirit. All right. Pass the turn back. We go over to Tom Ross. He'll draw a card. Not a land. No Gideon this turn. We'll crack some clues, obviously. He's got 2 of those to work with. Can make the Tireless track a little larger.
Game's being played at a very fast pace right now, though. Not clear there's time for Ross to be cracking and looking for his land drops via clues. May just have to attack with whatever he can attack with. Maybe loot away the Tireless Tracker and search for land number 4.
Looks like he's going to start by cracking a clue. Tracker will get a counter, draw a card. Sylvan Advocate. Doesn't look like he was in love with that one either. Jacob Baugh doing okay, putting the pressure on right now. Tom Ross trying to keep up. Here comes the Tracker. It's a 4/3 when it attacks. Now here's a little game inside the game. At this stage, I believe Jacob and the rest of his team know that Tom Ross has access to Blossom in defense. So that attack, sure, we can make a little bit of an exchange with DePaula and Selfless Spirit, maybe sacrificing to be indestructible, all of that stuff, or he could just take the damage.
He gets to attack as a 5/5 this turn with the Smuggler's Copter if he wants to, with the Dwarves in play that enable that. And that could force Tom on defense to use the blossoming defense then, and then you can sacrifice the Selfless Spirit. So maybe there's an argument for Baugh to block there anyway, but he can kind of force the action on his own turn in an even juicier spot.
There's a Plains.
Really good spot here for the Sky Sovereign.
Boat. Seen worse spots for the boat. Looks like Selfless Spirit might be helping out. One of the things that we haven't really seen yet through the 14 rounds that we've watched is really kind of the tough decisions on which creature to use to crew.
Yes. The vehicles, the gameplay on them, really good. A lot of decision-making involved.
Here's a Copter activation. The Veteran Motorist did crew that one, so again, that Copter's a 5/5. Ball will be discarding here in just a moment as he already drawn. I know he's got a Fleet Wheel Cruiser in hand.
Whoa.
Wow.
This is the whole point. We've been waiting all day for this.
All right.
Okay, fine.
All right, backup boat.
That's fine.
Classic boat flood.
Yep, boat flooded.
Yep. All right, Council Flagship takes care of the Tireless Tracker. Also a really good blocker.
Also a lethal attacker.
Yeah. Ross he's in some real trouble. He's just got to pack it up. He cannot beat the Sky Sovereign. Jacob Baugh going to win game number 1 here over Tom Ross. White-Red Vehicles up a game here over Green-White Aggro. We are going to go to the sideboards. We'll start with Tom. And it's the ability to be a little bit flexible, which might help him here in the sideboard games. You see 2 Fumigates, 2 Nissa Vital Force, 2 Natural State, 2 Declaration in Stone, 2 Quarantine Field, 5 1-ups here in Tireless Tracker, Fragmentize, Stasis Snare, Linvala the Preserver, and Blessed Alliance.
I think you want a little bit more of the creature removal here, the Quarantine Fields, the Stasis Snares, some of the anti-artifact stuff as well, Natural State and Fragmentize. I think the one Linvala the Preserver is great in this matchup too.
Other side of things here for Jacob Baugh. His sideboard a lot more streamlined. 4 Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, 3 Weaver of Lightning, 3 Galvanic Bombardment, 3 Sky Whaler Shot, and then 2 Fragmentize.
So you can easily talk me into the 4 copies of Gideon, and in a matchup like this, which is played primarily on the battlefield, and also if Tom is bringing in sweepers, Gideon's a great card to have there as well. Some mixture of the creature removal here, the Galvanic Bombardment, the Sky Whaler Shot, both seem justifiable to me.
I think it's just really... It's about attacking here, right? I don't know if you can play a defensive game. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Well, I mean, the kind of in the ideal scenario from Baugh's perspective, you either want to be on the front foot or gumming up the works and attacking with 1 flyer or a couple evasion threats. Tom is kind of doing the same thing too, and this how the draws line up dictate if you're the one just on the front foot trying to end the game as fast as possible or trying to gum up the works while attacking with threats that are either too large or have flying.
Well, we will let these players sideboard and shuffle up. While they do that, we're going to talk about the StarCityGames.com Creature Collection. It's available now in playmat sleeves and player bundles. And look at that thing.
Hedgehog.
Yeah, look at that thing.
Go to StarCityGames.com/Creature Collection. You can order your items today. You can head over to our dealer booth also at any of the SCG Tour events or at Grand Prix Atlanta next weekend, where we will have a booth.
If you don't like Hedgehog and you'd rather just have something cute like a ferret, also totally fine.
Ferret. I would have named this Ferrets. Go.StarCityGames.com/Creature Collection.
With an S.
With an S, plural.
I'll be sure to talk to our brand manager about that when I get back on Monday.
There's clearly more than 1 ferret in the art.
I'll be sure to run that by them.
Okay.
Let them know that perhaps an S.
I know they really appreciate my feedback when it comes to the Creature Collection stuff.
Perhaps an S would have been in our best interest. That's all. Let's learn a little bit more about Jacob Baugh, shall we? As he is currently up a game as a 27-year-old from Waterloo, Illinois. 9 open top 8s, 2 wins. This would be number 10 and potentially the 3rd win if he's able to win one more game here for the member of Team Card Hoarder. He loves all types of games, certified auto mechanic, and watches a ton of anime. And him and his team, you think about it now. Now, I know when we do these SCG Tour events, we think about Team Metagame Gurus, especially in Modern. We think about Brad and Todd and the rest of the Rono crew, but I'm taking a look here. Devin Kepke, Team Card Hoarder. white-red vehicles. Chris Van Meter, team card holder, white-red vehicles. Jacob Baugh, team card holder, white-red vehicles.
Quite a week 1 performance.
Yes. And if Lucas Kiefer is able to make the top 8, he's a member of team card holder as well. So I think it's actually this group of players that may have found a very, very good deck for that Pro Tour and Regionals 2 weeks from now.
Well, it seems like they have a very solid week 1 deck that's an aggressive deck, taking advantage of a lot of the most powerful cards in the new set while also having a bigger game plan for other similar decks. Not a bad strategy for week 1.
Remember, we saw Baugh win in Open earlier this year when we were in Columbus. He got the job done with 4-color Rally during Season 1 of the SCG Tour. That was his second Open win. Again, this would be a crowning achievement. We have seen time and time again players have to get through Tom Ross to make the top 8 in the final round, and it's typically Tom the one that comes out on top. Tom now taking a very, very quick mulligan, so we'll take a moment to learn a little bit more about him. Looks like Jacob going to think over his hand, but for the boss, if he's able to win here, it would be top 8 number 16 for the 33-year-old who currently resides in Roanoke, Virginia. 4 Open wins, 4 invitational top 8s, and 2 invitational wins, as you know. Self-proclaimed best GoldenEye 64 player. I played against him 2 weeks ago. He's relatively good, though the feat thing has not been proven yet. Along with Michael Majors, puts 8% of all tournament winnings towards buying an NBA Jam arcade cabinet and used to do parkour, and I actually saw him do a backflip the same weekend that I played and lost him in GoldenEye 64.
Important in the interest of full disclosure here.
It is. It is.
That Majors and Cedric and I yesterday at a local barcade lost a 3-game set of NBA Jam to Tom Ross and Michael Majors.
We did. We did. Painful, but
excruciating.
True. Really true. The most painful part of it, without question, is the fact that Tom talks trash, but never talks otherwise.
Right.
He never
100% of the words out of his mouth
is trash talk during the game. Otherwise, he actually doesn't say anything ever. But he does play a pretty mean John Stockton, though I think John Stockton is cheating.
It's felt pretty unfair.
Yeah, it feels cheating. Servant of the Conduit, energy on the way. Land number 3, not on the way. Just has to pass the turn back over to Baugh. Baugh will draw a card. 2 Needle Spires along with a 3-man Inspector and a clue for Jacob. Jacob with a copy of P and Alar in hand.
Highlight definitely Kevin Jones. You want to know how much this guy loves gaming? We're beating Kevin Jones and Robert Vaughn by about literally over 50 points. Very hard to do in NBA Jam.
That's correct.
Kevin Jones makes a basket, cut the lead to 54, and says, "It's too bad the MVP can't come from the losing team."
It's true.
Great quote.
A great quote. For a man who was on no sleep, by the way.
No sleep. Just got waxed in the tournament, down in a game of NBA Jam by over 50 points.
But still, just a positive attitude.
Great spirits.
He made a nice bucket.
He did.
Here's a Servant of the Conduit here for Tom. 4 energy now. We'll see if this one does live, as Jacob took the last turn to actually play Declaration of Stone on 1. For Baugh, you can see he has at least 1 land in hand and a mountain. Got a lot more work to do this game, though. He'll play a mountain.
And with Ross off to a very slow start here, this is another great game potentially for the Sky Sovereign.
Here's another Inspector. Thopter on the way here from Pia. It's a good game for Sky Sovereign, but it's also a pretty good game here, I think, for Tom when it comes to maybe a card like Fumigate or Quarantine Field.
Yes. Some of the big payoff cards could be very good here.
Has a copy of Natural State in hand. This is a Fairgrounds Warden. That'll take care of the Thopter. Use an energy. Another Servant. 5 energy. Pass the turn back. Servants and multiples, probably not the best, as Baugh will draw. But I do agree with you. If he's able to get to the boat.
Could be a very short game.
Indeed. Baugh going to scry to the bottom there with the veteran motorist.
And I'm sure Baugh is aware of this too. This can't be the first matchup over the course of the tournament where he knows he can get to the boat as fast as possible. It's probably going to be game over. Immediately scried 2 to the bottom, and I think one of the cards he scried to the bottom might have been Declaration in Stone. He's just on the hunt now.
DePaula was the draw. Another Fairgrounds Warden here for Tom. He's also got a copy of Natural State. It's going to start by sacrificing a clue. Blossoming Defense has been found. Use an energy. Yep, there's Fairgrounds Warden. Got to take care of DePaula. That one's going to cause too much trouble if it stays alive. And no good attacks. Things are kind of gummed up, which is bad for Ross because Baugh is the one that's got some clues out there to draw some cards, and feels like he's the one with the inevitability right now.
He certainly has the biggest draw of either player right now in Sky Sovereign.
Cruiser for a bruiser. I wonder how much he cares about this. Now, to note, 5-3 now.
Oh, yeah.
Could get tricky with the motorist. Making it 6-4. One thing you can actually do in combat is you can just crew it with another card. So.
Yes, and you can still crew even if the thing is turned into an artifact creature.
Sometimes somebody else wants to jump in the car.
Yep. Make a quick stop.
Yeah. Maybe a double block on the way here. Looks like Tom is going to use Blossoming Defense to save the Fairgrounds Warden, or at least to pump the Fairgrounds Warden. It's still going to die, looks like. What is this here from Jacob? Ah, Pia plus it. So 5, 6, 7. Tom is going to lose both. Okay, maybe he missed that Pia interaction. Pia pretty good with vehicles too.
Yep.
Can help suit him up and can pump him. Okay.
I love decks that are just chock full of small synergies.
Yeah. Because that means the Blossoming Defense didn't accomplish much at all.
No. No, I believe that was missed.
Declaration in Stone here for Ross, along again with Natural State and the Fortified Village. For Tom, I think it's somewhat clear what he needs to draw. I think it revolves around the Gearhawk. For Jacob, if it's the boat, this thing probably ends. Remember, he's got 2 clues. He's got redraws here.
And Ross behind on the board. And 2 clues for Baugh versus 0 for Ross.
Jacob will use 2 mountains, draw a card, drew a mountain.
And Baugh also with relevantly sized creature lands as well.
Yep. Baugh will play a Plains. Looks like he's going to activate Needle Spires. And that plus the Motorist, it looks like, are going to come into the red zone. Servant is going to jump in front of the Motorist. They'll trade. Ross will take 4, fall down to 15, draw a card. I think it was an Inspector. Could be wrong. Yes, it is an Inspector. Crack the clue right away, draw a card. That's why you saw him tap 3 mana. And still has Natural State in hand.
Yep. Natural State against not a whole lot to do. Declaration in Stone against things that are not better than clues. It's not a great hand here. And Baugh, again, still drawing to the Sky Sovereign, which I do not believe Ross is going to be able to handle.
No. Think about Baugh's deck, too. Is it boat time? Boat.
Oh, boy.
Boat.
Boat.
There goes the Fairgrounds Warden. Here comes DePaula.
Yeah, it felt like we were just sort of waiting for this to show up.
Yep, more or less. Tom hoping it would never show up, but once the boat arrives, I think it might be game over now. Going to attack with these Inspectors along with a Pia. Tom will take 3, because those are humans, not dwarves. Play Inspiring Vantage. Jacob's empty-handed, but the best things he's got are actually on the battlefield, and Gearhawk is a turn too late. At least it feels that way.
Yeah. I mean, Baugh's got him covered 2 turns in the air. on top of having a lot of other little things going on as well. And PNLR alongside some clues.
Here's a Gear Hulk. 2 counters on each. No real attacks to be had here. You attack, the boat becomes alive. Smart play here by Jacob. Going to activate and pay. Going to get a Smuggler's Copter. That's on the end step. DePaul is really good.
Yep.
Time for Jacob to draw. Picked up a mountain. Play that mountain. Looks like he wants to fire up Needle Spires. Nick Miller told us before the match did begin that Jacob Baugh's team has been doing a really nice job against this green-white aggro deck all weekend long. And you can kind of see why.
Well, it seems like it's able to be a little bit more efficient on the battlefield, and then Sky Sovereign in this matchup just seems. The games are going to slow down. The green-white deck doesn't have enough resources to pin down the various crew members, and left unchecked, this is just going to run rampant over the battlefield.
That's going to do it. Jacob Baugh going to win this match over Tom Ross, 2-0.